All right, so for interactive one, here is the grading breakdown for class. So the different types of projects you'll work on, there's discussions, there's assignments, and then there's the final module. So discussions are worth 30% of your grade. Sometimes these are individual discussion posts that you're essentially communicating with other uh, people in your class. Um, Sometimes because this class has a group project, you'll also have discussion posts that are just meant to be status updates. So that's meeting notes typically that one person submits and then everybody gets the grade. So one person just has to submit the notes and you'll be fine. For assignments, like I mentioned, it's 50% of the grade. That's a mix between individual work and group work. But a lot of the assignments in this class will be some level of group coordination. For your final is 20% of your grade. And like I mentioned, I am not a very traditional teacher in that there's like an exam or anything. For your final module, I have I think I have like two specific projects that I have you do. One of them is to create a LinkedIn profile and to fill it out based on the requirements that I have. And the second one is either like an app critique or like a very small design project. And I leave that up to you to decide which one you want to do. And that one's worth 20% of your grade. So that hopefully gives you kind of like a brain break during finals week so that you're not like overly stressed about this class and it's all your other class you have to worry about. So with the grade percentage, so C's are what gets the degrees for digital design for this particular major. So you really need to get somewhere between 74% and up. I do provide extra credit from time to time. They are kind of like mixed in with your module work. And if you need to rework assignments, like I mentioned, please reach out to me and we'll work on an arrangement. But you need to have at least a C in order to pass the class. If you fall below the 74%, you have to retake the class, unfortunately. And we don't want you to do that because that's more time that it takes for you to finish the degree. It also costs more money. So like, let's not go there. Let's aim high. Let's aim for A. But if we have to manage our expectations, we'll go as low as 74 and we'll be good. But let's try to keep it, somewhere in between here. Okay, so let me tell you about the schedule. So you'll have a link to this in Canvas, so you can read through it. I'm just going to skip forward to the class schedule to explain some of the projects you'll be working on. So like I mentioned, there is a group project for Interactive 1. So in Interactive 1, you focus on building out an end-to-end experience for a mobile app. And I provide a prompt for you that you, again, will kind of read on your own once class starts. Before you can work on a group project, you have to figure out who you're going to work with. I'm not the kind of person who likes to be told who I'm going to work with, so I'm not going to, I'm going to pass that along to you. In our first discussion post as a class, folks are going to pitch some ideas. And if you like some of these ideas, start forming groups. So hopefully there are a couple of themes here that you'll be interested in enough. In these discussion posts, I'm also asking students to post their availability to work. So hopefully that's another way that you can screen some of your group members as well. At the end of Module 1, you will have found a group and committed to working with that group. As your design assignment though, because all of that other stuff is like logistics and brainstorming, but in terms of like the design deliverable, I would like you to get started on your portfolio website. So you may have one that you created to get into the program. I'm not as familiar with the entrance requirements nowadays for the digital design major, but even if like some people are able to reuse their like current website, and that's fine. I have a couple of requirements for the website. So like you need to be able to post blogs. So like individual articles, you'll have a few of those. You'll need to be able to post projects. So typically that comes in the form of standalone pages. And those are different than blog posts because blog posts means that there are timestamps essentially that are associated with it and some sort of like blog roll or journal roll in like sequential order, whereas pages are one-off. You'll need to be able to create a custom navigation menu. So like there needs to be a way for you to like drag and drop things so that it shows up in a certain order. Um, and let's see what else. I mean, I think that's like mostly it. There's some specific requirements, but that's the basic gist of it. So this WordPress site, I want you to use for class, and if you're able to load in other projects to it, great. I see it easier for you to start the WordPress site and then put your other stuff into it than it is to try to like use your current site and try to cram things in. So if you use WordPress, then I can at least help you during the class if you have issues with it. If you use something else like Squareplace or Wix, it's harder for me to troubleshoot. So that's kind of like, you do that at your own risk. If you need help, you'll have to go through their IT support. It might not be something that I can help with during class. A benefit of WordPress is that it's there's free plans, there's fairly inexpensive plans as well, if you want, your professional domain and all that fun stuff. It's also responsive right out of the box. So if you choose a theme that they've already published, then, if a hiring manager were to render it on a phone or on a tablet, it automatically scales on its own. Um, I think Squarespace kind of does that, but Wix, unless you use a template out of the box, like if you design your whole site on your own in Wix, then it's usually not responsive, and that's a bad thing. Like we want to make sure that any device that hits your website is able to render it, you know, in an optimal way. So that's why I suggest WordPress. Okay, so so that's like week one. So week two, you've formed your design groups, and the first thing I want you to do together as a group is to work on the team contract. So that's essentially your rules of engagement. That you will establish ground rules, you'll provide contact information, you'll talk through some of the other content that I have in there about, how will you resolve conflicts or disagreements amongst one another? How do you like, what's the agreed upon protocol for escalating issues to me if it gets to that point where you can't resolve it on your own? And then you'll also talk through your project proposal. And there are specifications in the assignments that I will be posting. Okay, so the next one for module three, which you can actually start in module two, is the competitive analysis. So that is, I have a template for you to use if you want to use it. But essentially, you're looking at direct and indirect competitors to your concept idea and putting together a feature audit and listing out what works well, what needs to be improved, what are some areas of innovation. In module four, we start looking at the human interface guidelines on Apple, because we will be designing for Apple iOS, meaning, iPhones, iPads, iPods, they're still a thing. Anything that starts with I is what you'll be designing for this class. So you'll be working together as a group. Each designer will be focused on their own feature, but when you deliver it, you'll deliver your content as a group. And because you're working on the same product, it should kind of look and feel and behave the same. In module five, you will focus on prototyping. So you're moving from beyond flat designs, so not just like text and buttons on a screen, but actually making them live. So like you can click on this button and it goes somewhere else, or like when you go to a new page, something fades in, that type of stuff. So you'll be working on design prototyping in module five. In module six, you'll be working on user research. So by then, you will have finished your app design and you're going to run it through usability testing. So your goal is to understand how folks are using the app and to gather feedback on things that you need to improve in the design. So in that project, for module six, you will be working on the actual research component itself and writing the report. In module 7, you'll be making updates to the design based on the learnings from module 6. And then in module 8, that is your project case study. So this is essentially paper. I don't want to say paper because you're not actually turning anything in. You're going to create a page on your WordPress website that you created, where you're going to explain your design process, and you'll have artifacts in there of the design work you did. You'll explain what your other team members worked on, and what that collaboration process looked like. You will have a video demonstration and presentation of the app design that you created. And that will be an individual deliverable. So let me see here. Let me scroll back up. So module 1, that's individual. Module 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6, those are group deliverables. Everyone has work to do. You can't have just one person do it. The group project won't work that way, because like you're going to work on a concept together, but each person is going to focus on their own set of like design features. So if one person drops off the group and like it's non-responsive, it doesn't break the design of the group. But ideally everyone would participate so that you have a really like fleshed out and functional app, and very beautiful app. Okay, and then as I mentioned, for finals week, you'll do a small design project or an app critique, as well as a LinkedIn profile. You're either creating one or you're updating it based on my requirements. Yeah, so that's what you can expect from Interactive 1. As a side note, I recognize that half of this class was registered for the in-person version, and I am very sorry that your in-person version of class got canceled, and you unfortunately had to enroll in the online portion. I know some students wanted to get in because of the flexibility. For the folks who really, do well with in-person and are worried about the online component, I hope to bring you, some ease of mind in the way that I organize my work. I also hope to bring you ease of mind in some of the group work that will help you stay on track. I also have, let me go back to, and I'm going to open up a new tab. So I have, let me see here. So I have office hours. You'll see the link in every single agenda as well. And I have it in the syllabus. So I have office hours that are posted twice a week. I have some early mornings and some evenings. So I work full time also during the day. So I'm taking office hours like before the workday and then after the workday. And on times, like on days where I'm planning like vacations and trips and stuff, I've like rearranged them on my calendar. So like they don't always fall Monday, Friday, but that's typically the days that I have. For the folks who are registered in the in-person, 6:30, 8:30 class, I've maintained office hours around that time. So I have 3 slots, 6:30, 7, and 7:30 on Mondays. I hope that eases some of the burden for folks who really wanted that in-person time. So if you need help, please go ahead and schedule office hours. With almost 40 students in this Interactive 1 class, they may fill up quickly, so make sure you book ahead of time. And if you need time that's not showing up here, just message me directly on Canvas and we can probably just work out like a one-off time. So yeah, so let's see. In summary, we've got 8 modules. We've got group projects. We have individual projects. If you need anything, I've got office hours. I'm trying to be very organized for class, but I have kind of like reworked my usual curriculum. So if something's missing, something's unclear, chances are it's not just you. Everyone else is probably feeling the same thing and just hasn't said anything. So please let me know so I can fix it for everybody. All right, well, I hope you have a great start to your semester and your other classes are awesome. I look forward to seeing the work that you submit. Have a good one.